as you can see in the title of the session, Power BI for Mac users. But then I don't want to give anybody false hopes or say something that is almost false. So I had to put in brackets. It's actually Power BI Online. There is no Power BI software, no Power BI desktop yet for Mac. So we're going to be seeing, if you're a Mac user, what is all of the options you have. So you will notice that I'm in my Mac environment. I'm on my Mac, so there is no cheating. I'm not going to use my Windows laptop. So what we're going to do is, imagine you only have a Mac, right? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like, I only have a Mac. I have some data. I want to analyze in Power BI. What are my options? What can I achieve? What can we do, right? We're going to explore today together. A confession up front, even though I thought I should practice ahead and rehearse ahead, I didn't have enough time. So I could only do a bit of check, okay? So we are going to explore this together. If there are some goofs, I've confessed ahead. But hopefully, I think I know what I'm doing. So you will get you'll really be opened up to some things you never probably thought were possible, without you having a Windows PC. All right, so let's get started. So confession number one, or setting the stage number one, is we are going to focus. This is the only thing you have as a Mac user. You only have the Power BI web service, the Power BI service actually, the Power BI online. People used to get confused when I say Power BI service. So that was why I decided to use the much more straightforward explanation, Power BI Online. And you all know what Power BI Online means. You go to powerbi.com. So if you go to powerbi.com, this is what you have as a Mac user. So let's see how much we can squeeze out of this environment, okay? If you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any point and ask your question. I hope you hear me loud and clear, and I hope I have two mics. So if this mic is not good enough, let me know. I'll switch to the other mic. But are you able to see my screen? Are you hearing me loudly, and clearly also? Can anybody give us a feedback? Maybe chat, maybe unmute yourself and say. Because
yes, we can see your screen.
And you can hear me clearly. So thanks for that confirmation. So I have logged into my own Power BI. If you log into yours, you're going to let me log in again anyway. So this is what you have as a Mac user. So I need to let you know that this is what you have as a Mac user. You don't have any other thing. For those if you have a Windows, then you have, in addition to this, you have also the Power BI desktop, but there is no Mac version of the Power BI desktop. So what can you do as a Mac user? Number one, if you check on my screen here on the left side, you see this create button, right? So this is where you can create a report from scratch, right? And not just the report, you can also bring in data sets. You can, as you can see here, you can enter data set manually, you can paste. So let's try this. So number one is you copy and pasting the data you want to create reports on directly into this Power BI on environment, this Power BI on web, okay? I don't know why it's taking so much time. Let's wait for it a bit. Okay, great, it's coming up. I hope my internet is not trying to do a bad one on me today. So I have some practice data that I want to use today, right? So let me just go grab a handful. So I'm going to open some sales data, and then I'm going to grab some good amounts. And for every way, I will tell you the pros and cons of every approach we take. So it's a fairly large file, so it's taking a bit of time to open. But this is too much time it's taking, huh? Okay. Let's say maybe because I'm streaming at the same time. Okay, so okay. This is much more than I was thinking it would take. Let me go back and see if it is done opening. Okay. We'll have to just wait for it. I don't have any other data I can use. The data I have is also still an Excel file. So if I click on it, it's the same Excel that will pop up. It's a 46 MB file. So I guess maybe that's why it's taking that long. Okay, great. So it's opened up. So I'm going to just copy some amount. So that's the thing about this one, right? For this one, this option that I'm trying to explore, there is a limit to how much you can dump. So each 1,000. So copy it. I come here and I paste. Okay, so but you can't paste like a 1 million rows of data. So there is a limit to how much you can paste here. So let me just do some transformation. This is a transaction ID, is a whole number. This is a date. So I'm going to have to say this is a date. Date. I hope it sees it correctly. It's looking funny. Okay, this is text. I'm on the web. I'm in a Mac environment, as you can see. So if you have not seen this, if you have not tried this before, this is something that anybody can do even with a tablet because you're on the web, right? Pizza is a text. Unit price is let's say could have a decimal part. So let's say it's 1 to 3. This is a whole number. Sales discount is obviously a percentage. Time, it's time. Okay, so I'm going to call this sales data, and then I create. Okay, so let's see. And that is, it's coming up, and as you've seen, this is, I'm in a Mac environment. This is obviously a Mac, as you can see here. All right. So I'm waiting for it to come up. Normally it should be faster than this. I think because of this session I'm having, this streaming we are doing, it is using up my resources, and this Mac is not, it's a Mac here, MacBook here. So it's not like a very high spec Mac. So let's just patiently wait for it. Ordinarily, it shouldn't be this slow. So that's why I keep saying it's because of the streaming. Actually, Microsoft Teams is a system resource hog. So it's loading my data. So let's see how much report we can get out of it, right? See, are you seeing the kind of environment that you would have if you are designing a report from? Oh my God, it's even trying to do reports for me. Let's see how well it will get what I need, right? Let's see. Maybe that's why it was taking so much time. It was trying to overdo itself, huh? Awesome. It's created quarterly report, sales by branch, quantity by branch, sales discount. This is cool. This is cool. Okay. If I want to change things, I can go to edit, and I can begin to create other kinds of reports in here, you know. So I can go to edit and modify things. I can say, okay, you've tried, but then in addition to this that you've done, there are some other things I want to see. So see. Okay, I'm going to add some visualizations. So I'm going to add, say, for example, a pie chart. So I'm going to add a pie chart, and I will say by different branches. I want to see the quantity we've sold. So I'm dragging quantities over in there, and it's rendering. Why is it taking so long to come up? Okay, it didn't drag. Apologies. I think it didn't go. So let me re-drag it. Awesome. So you see, we can do, I created this right from scratch, right? You can do a whole lot of things, but I don't want to spend so much time here. I want to show you as many possible ways as possible. So we've seen this now, right? What is the drawdown to this? What's the drawback? So maybe I should create a note. Or in fact, I know what to do. I'm going to do a PowerPoint, send it to myself, and we will use that. So office hour 30. So it's coming up online. Let me just email this to myself. Save as office hour 30. Save and email. So I'm going to pull it from the Mac. Apologies that you're not seeing my screen. You're going to see it right now because I'm doing this from the Windows version. I want to pull the deck that we have to use. It's on my Windows. I want to push it from my Windows to my Mac. So yes. Okay, great. So let me get it here now. So that I can keep notes and I can be able to send us the notes immediately after, so that, because the things I'm going to show you, there are going to be many, so you'll be able to have a mental framework by which you can identify, okay, I started with create, I started with enter data, and then what are the plus, the pros, what are the negatives. So let me just pull this. Let me pull this. Why is it not downloading? Okay, it's loading. Apologies. Okay, everything on the Mac seems slow today. Okay, great. So I'm pulling this right now, and then I can add the notes on this. This is better than adding it in Word. So I can email us this after the session. Awesome, it's done. So it's opening now. Then I can go back here. So before leaving here, I want to tell you what the advantages of what we have done are and what this thing we have done, what it is called. So there are like about 4 options, right? So you'll be able to know what are the advantages and which you should use. So PowerPoint. I thought I've opened the file, right? Okay, it's opening now. If you are just joining us, I'm trying to show us Power BI for Mac, you know, what are the options you have as a Mac user? Okay, so this should be opened right now. Once it shows, I will add the notes. So this is the work environment we are on. I'm just waiting for this Power BI. I think I know some other things that are eating my bandwidth. Let me close this, first quit that. Okay, good. Is there any other thing I have that is open? So it's just the Teams anyway. I restarted the PC before doing this. Okay. This is frustrating me. Okay, I think it's coming up now. Awesome. I'm not a very patient someone. When things drag like this, I get frustrated. Okay, great. So now I have this. Good. So Power BI for Mac users, right? The one we've just done right now is, so if I come here, had a new slide, the one we've just done right now is called create enter data. So that's what we've done, right? What are the advantages and disadvantages? So advantages are one, advantages. So the advantages are one, very easy to use. Just copy paste in your data. No. Number two, you can create a beautiful report from it. You saw what I just did with, create a beautiful report with minimal effort. Okay. Now let's talk about the disadvantages. There's a limit to the amount of data you can enter. There's a limit to size of data that can be entered. So let's go check it out. See, if I go back to create, are you following? So if I go back to create, let me just save my changes. I'll call it create enter data. That's the name. So it's a demo for that. So once I save it, it will let me navigate away. Then I can show you again how I got here. So if I go to create, I'm going to create now. So if I go to create, this was where we went, right? Now, if I go here again, now if I go to the Excel and I grab all of the data, which is about how many thousand rows, huh? Let's see. Even this is, man, people who say Mac is very awesome. I don't think it is for the kind of things I do. Everything is dragging. My Windows doesn't drag this way. Let's see if this one is done. Okay, so this one is, I'm just waiting for the Excel. Or is it deliberate that Microsoft made their Excel laggy on their Teams laggy on Mac? I hope not. Now, it's copy I'm trying to do, selection that I'm trying to do, and it's gone off. So anyway, I wanted to show you that there's a limit. Let's see if maybe if I click on this, you will see the limit. So There's a limit. I think it's limited to 1,000 rows, I guess. We'll see anyway. So enter data. Let's see. They didn't put the limitation here. That's strange. But there's a limit. I was hoping they will have written it here for us to easily see. So there's a limit to the size of data you can enter. Let me check if my Excel is up. So we can go. Okay, we'll come back to it whenever it comes up. We'll come back to it. So let me go on. So the next one is still under create. So still under create. Disadvantage of the enter data is you cannot create formulas. You cannot reshape / transform the data, right? You cannot you can't mix it. Let me use that word, mix. With other data sets. So unlike when we are on the Power BI desktop where I can create relationships between different data sets, I can't do that. So let's see, that's this one, right? Then there's this other option where you pick a published data set. So we're going to do this next. And they say you can add Excel to looking for Excel, blah, blah. So I can pick a published data set. A published data set is a data set that I have already created before. I've published, and then I want to use it for analysis. So let's say I pick this one, right? And as I pick the data set, it's trying to load the data set for me, and then I should be able to create reports of the data set. Now the thing is, this data set is either someone has created it for you or you must have created it before, okay? So I will show you where you can create some data sets, okay? So this is a case of where I've created data sets and I want to do a report where it will show maybe our FX reserve. So I have here FX reserve. This is picking from a database directly. I will show you how you can connect to a database directly. I can throw in a line chart. There and say that this should do for me over dates. So let me drag that all over again. So I'm dragging, okay, it has done. So over dates, I'm going to drag the, what's the difference between this and this? Anyway, I'm going to just drag the value. Let's see what comes out. So it's going to show us what our FX reserve is like over the number of years and months and dates that I have in my data. I can also do likewise for our exchange rates. Things are a bit slow on this. Dragging it all over again. Okay, now it's populating. Let me hide this for now, so I have enough real estate. Let me hide this filter for now. So you can see from July 2019 to now how our FX reserve has been. What other things should I put in there to compare with? So let me compare with oil price. So let's compare with oil price then. So if I want to compare this with our oil price, this is in billions of USD anyway. So I'm going to drop another line chart. I'll go look for Brent oil price, crude oil price. So crude oil price, crude price some. I'll drag the dates to axis. I'll drag the price to value. And then it's doing its work, right? So this is another way, right? This is another way of, so this comes under still create data. What have I done? Control Z. Undo. How do I duplicate? Control copy, duplicate slide. So this is not enter data. So this is me using existing data sets. If you remember how I got there, I got here by, so this is interesting actually. Oh, I have oil price going as far back as 1999. This is interesting. Let's say I reduce it to July 2019 so that we can compare effectively. So I can say, let's start this from July 2019 so we can do like a comparison and see is there kind of correlation. So I'm going to do advanced filtering. So I'm going to say after July 20, it's after July 2019. So it's after July 2019. I apply the filter. So you see, it's a similar experience to the desktop if you have used the Power BI desktop. Again, the limitation is I cannot create a formula. I cannot do relationships between different tables. So if you take a look at this, you can see the parallel, kind of like when the oil price went like lowest, was our exchange foreign reserve to kind of tanked almost the same way, got the bomb. Well, that's the country we live in. All right, so let us talk about the limitation of this one. So this one that I just did is where you go to create. Let me show you again. Oh, let's check it out if this is done. Wow. Will I not just close the Excel file and first quit? Let me see if I have another file I can use to demo. If I go to my documents, if I go to my Excel practice file, if I go to, don't recover anything from me. What I use for pivot table should have enough data for what I. Okay, so I think I will just use this one for the demonstration. Okay, great. So if I go here, great. So let's grab this one. This will be big enough. I pray it doesn't get stuck again. Awesome. So this is 5,000 records, right? I grab the 5,000 records, I go here, I try to dump them here. Let's see what will happen. Oh, that's nice. Did it go to the end? So it took the 5,000, right? Let me try. There's a limit. I know there's a limit. So let me try and dump this another batch of 5,000 records. So I come here. I dump another batch of 5,000 records. Seems it didn't work correctly. Well, let's ignore the fact that it's putting everything in the same cell. Let me just keep dumping and see. Maybe it will tell me that it's gotten enough and it cannot do anymore. Okay. All right, so I take it back. I think it does way more than I was thinking it can do. So, okay, that's it. But there's still a limit. But now I can't tell you what the limit is. I was thinking the limit was 10,000. So this is the one we just did now. Pick an already published data set, right? So what are the disadvantages? The advantages and disadvantages, right? The advantage is that, well, you don't have to create from scratch the data sets all over. So if you already have an existing data set you can use. Then the also other advantage is this makes possible to connect to a live data set. So when you copy and paste this one, the data is static because it's what you have created. The data is static. It doesn't update. There's no automatic refresh. There's no live connection to anything that is changing as you go on. So data is static, but this one you can connect to a live data. Okay. What is the disadvantage? Again, this one there is no size limit. So for this, there are no size limits. You cannot create formula, you cannot reshape, you cannot mix with other data sets. So this problem persists. Okay, so this is that second one, right? Now let's go to the third one, get data. So if I click on get data, let's see, I think someone has put something in the chat box. Let me go check. Akin, you say I could have used online presentations. I'm not clear. What does that mean? What's online presentations? You can unmute and maybe speak. I think when you are saying this was like 15 minutes ago. I can't remember where I was. What section was I in then? Okay. So there's also get data, right? So if you go to get, you see Microsoft keeps trying to push you to download the desktop because obviously you get the best report building experience. But then if you're on Mac, you cannot, right? So let's start with what options do you have? If you go to get from my organization, it's going to, so that takes us to number 3, get data. What did I do? Duplicate slide. Get data. So you can go to get data, right? And that's where we are now. So there is from organization. If your company already have some published apps, so apps here are kind of templates, to be sincere, report templates, then great. If your company does not have, as you can see, I do not have. So if I go back to this get data, right? I can go to services, and from here I can see the marketplace. I could have gone from the other side, but I wanted to go one at this. I've shown you this. I want to show you this. So if I click on services, why it's taking time? So you will see that this is like the marketplace. Here you can access different already built templates, report templates, and some of the people who publish theirs allow you to switch the data source so that, you know, without you having to build from scratch. Let's go back to the entire marketplace. I think some things are clicking, like there's a system lag. I click and then it doesn't show, then it shows, and it's as if I've clicked twice. Okay, great. So this is like the marketplace. You can pick any of, if you are fortunate to find a report that is already something along the line of what you want, then awesome. You can pick it and then begin to modify the data source, do some bit of a, let me see if I can pick one and use for demonstration. Some people will not let you change theirs. So I'll prefer I use something from Microsoft. So when Microsoft gives you, they allow you to, let's try this. Microsoft sample retail analysis. So normally you will see an explanation of okay. So you see some explanation here. Because of time, I'm not going to read through all of what is written there, right? We're just going to click on get it now and see what will happen. Okay, so that's coming up. Do I want to install this Power BI app? Yes. Again, the word app is just, to me, it's just a fancy way of saying templates. So you'll even see I have some templates already installed up from the app store. So let's check out what this is going to look like. So I go to the app, and you have access to these again from your Mac environment. Like I mentioned, some users, some publishers will allow you to be able to switch the data source. So you can switch the data source to your own data. So let's see if this is one, if we've been given that permission also in this. If I go here, so from here, I'm seeing the already made reports, and apologies that it's taking a bit of time for it to render. More importantly, you want to see if you have control, access to the data sets, right? So without too much of a problem, I'm noticing that I do not have access to the data sets. Let me show you. If you go to this open lineage view, it will show you all what you have access to within the data that you have, the templates report you have accessed. So it's coming up. What network am I on? I hope I'm not on the wrong network. Okay, maybe I'll temporarily switch to another network if this persists. So I don't have a zooming app, right? I would have zoomed this, but let's see if there's a way. Okay, yeah, I've even forgotten for web. You can always do a. So see, it's connected to an SQL, then to a Power BI file. Then this is the report that I'm viewing right now, and then there is a dashboard. But as I can see here, I do not have access to this, and so I can't switch the data set. So as you can see, I can't switch the data set. That's the situation in here right now. I can't switch the data. So this is not going to be useful. You can see unable to connect. Okay. If you go to the settings, so this is not going to be useful, but I'll show you an example of one where I could switch the data set. All right. So let me take you to an example where I'm able to switch the data sets. So if I expand here, and if I go to here, executive report. So if I go to get data, and I go again to these services, this gets. So I'm going to show you an example of one that allows me to switch data sets. And if you have those ones, you can be able to switch data sets and be able to leverage the already existing report. So this can be useful for if you want to create reports around GridTop, Microsoft projects, you know, things that are important to you, LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, Power BI Premium, Google Analytics. But because of time, I'll go to the one I've tested before. It's called Executive Report. So let me just type it in here. Executive Report. So this one. So this person allowed me to be able to switch my data sets. So I'm going to show you what the person did. If you use Microsoft Dynamics, then this is going to be nice because the person made it possible for you to switch to your own data source. So I'm just going to accept. And let me switch my data to another network. The network might bleep, but it will. Okay, so I guess I'm back now, right? I hope you can see my screen. So I've switched the network. Let's see if this is better, this is faster. Okay, let me just drag this away. I think it's the same anyway, so maybe it's not a network problem. Maybe it's a Mac problem. So this is it. It's installing the app. I can launch the app. And then I'll show you where it allows me to switch my data source. It's building the app. Okay. See, can you see on my screen, connect your data? If I click on this connect your data, then it will ask me to connect it to my own environment. Okay. So to say, okay, you know what, switch this to your own Dynamics environment. Replace this data URL with your own Dynamics. Dynamics is an ERP. So we can come in here and say that with this one, with the get data, you are able to connect to your live data and leverage already built report templates, which you can customize. That's the thing. Because of time, I might not be able to show you how to customize it, but I don't have a Dynamics CRM, so I'm not going to do that. But then you can customize. You can say you want to edit and change things, right? So I'm going to go back to get data. That's not the only option we have in get data. So in get data, I also have the option of connecting to a database. So maybe I should also start with file. You can import a file, and as you can see, you can import a local file from OneDrive, from SharePoint, from OneDrive Personal and Business. Let me go back. And then database, you can also connect to a database. Actually, I could have done that from here, and click on it, but I wanted you to see that. So I'm even going to demonstrate one. So I have a database that I want to connect to. I think this is bad. Before, you can connect to a database directly. Oh, was I dreaming? You know, let's pick this. Now, oh, so you see, before you can connect to database directly. Because yeah, I know I've done it before, but now they said they've stopped it, so things are even worse right now. So you can't connect to a database directly anymore. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, so that means this is useless because you can't connect to a database directly anymore. So disadvantage, you cannot connect to a new database directly anymore. Let's go add that in disadvantage. On top of, you cannot create formulas. You cannot connect to a new database anymore. Only existing data sets. So that's a bad thing. That's on top of all of this. So that brings me to number 4. Okay, so number 4 way. So number 4 is data flow. Data flow. So let's see with data flow how we can. So if I go for data flow, you cannot do from here, right? You have to ensure you are in a workspace that is not my workspace. So I go to, where can I go to? Let's go to my company workspace. So I go to a workspace. That's the only place you can access data flow from. I'm waiting for it to come up. Great. So I'm going to create a new data flow. Let's see if you can even create a new data set from scratch. Or see, unfortunately, we are back to the problem of you can't use this. So let's just go and do our workflow directly. So let's go create the workflow. I was hoping that maybe that would take us to a different environment. So create workflow, data flow, data flow, not workflow, data flow. So this one has a bit of interesting thing. It has a plus and it has a bad negative, but nonetheless, I need to show you everything. So I can say I want to create a new entity. And are you noticing something interesting? This is Power Query Online. I can connect to a DB. I can bring in an Excel file. Let me bring in an Excel file, that one that was giving me problem the other time, right? Let's bring it in and let's see how this one allows us to create formulas, right? So I'm going to grab the file paths. I don't have it on OneDrive. I'm trying to if this is going to take too long, let me just go and connect to a live DB then. Let's see. How many more minutes do I have? Do I have anything that I can easily use? Okay, let's pick this Nigerian stock analysis. Excel. Okay, so let's use this. Let's see what I have there. I can't remember what I have there, but it looks like okay, so I'm going to click on next. Okay, so let's see what I have in there. Okay, so I have so let's work with this, not bad. So I'm going to do this, transform data. Okay, and this is the Power Query experience. If you have this Power Query, this is same Power Query. Okay, so this allows me to create formulas, allows me to do a bit more. So let's see, it's loading. Let me show you what I mean by create formula. I can come in here and add a column, and I can add a custom column. Let me reduce the space this is taking. Great. So I can add a custom column, and I can say the column is going to be equal to, I don't know, just some formula. So I can pick, I could say maybe I'm taking the value and I'm dividing it by, maybe I'm converting to USD. So I can say value in USD. So if the exchange rate is currently 465, I can say, okay, divide by 465, and I'll create that. So you see, this allows me to create formulas. I can tell it that these are decimal numbers. so that we know that this is also a decimal number. I think I'll just have to stop here. So let me just let you be aware that this can let you connect to live data, connect to any data actually, any data set. You can do formulas, within the Power Query environment. You can shape your data. So you see this reshape and transform that this does. You can do that. So that means this disadvantage is not there. You can you can set incremental refresh. So this one allows you to set incremental refresh, though you need a premium account for that. But without premium accounts, you can do the normal, you can set live updates or auto refresh or scheduled refresh. So this is a Power Query environment that can be done and saved. So it has a very big disadvantage. The big disadvantage is that you can't use to build reports within Power BI service, which is Power BI Online. Which is funny, if I could do all of this work, why then can't I just create reports of it? Let me just call this a demo class of 7 March 2021. So any questions as we wrap up the session? Almost everybody is gone. It must have been a very boring session for most people. I guess this is not what they were expecting. They were expecting that you will be able to do the same Power BI desktop. Unfortunately, that's not what it is. So, but it's also good for those who use Mac to at least be able to know that they have these options. And if they are lucky that what they want to do, these options do it for them, then perfect. This is what I mean. This one has an incremental refresh. So if you click here, you can see incremental refresh. I can set scheduled refresh. I can do some interesting thing on data. The problem is just that there's nowhere here I can say I want to use it to build a report. So that's what some people are asking that Microsoft makes possible, that after I have done all of this, I should be able to have, as part of the actions, ability to create reports directly from my data flow. Okay, so any questions at this juncture before I wrap up the session? It's 7 p.m. already. Any questions? Let me go check if there's anything on the chat area. So one thing is obvious. Power BI Desktop is still the first class tool for authoring reports, and it's not yet in Mac. And but you have 4 options. If you really must stick with Mac, it means you can only use the Power BI service, and you have enter data, so which we have demonstrated the advantages, disadvantages. You have using existing data sets. Again, we have demonstrated it, the advantage, disadvantage. You also have get data, which before you could have connected to a new database, they've removed it for, I don't know, God knows what reason. Then number 4, you have Dataflow. The sad thing with Dataflow is it has many of the advantages that the other ones did not have. But then it lacks the most important thing, ability to now use what you have created to create a report. But I'm hoping they will add it, because a lot of people have complained about that. So they will add it. You won't have to again go to a Power BI desktop to now use your created data flow. So thank you very, very much. At this juncture, I will have to end the session. I will maybe add this slide in the text, in the video recording. So when the video recording is out, which will be on YouTube, let me just grab us the link. You'll be able to see the slides also with it. I'll put up the slides with the recording. Let me just dump it. Let me post the link of the YouTube recording. I'll just do it on the other PC. This one is frustratingly slow. Okay, so let me just grab and post it right here. I'm using my Windows to make the posting. Okay, so done. So thank you very, very much. See you next week. Next week, we are going to most likely have Marco Russo. Let me just show you. We are still in talk. I think we are almost there. So I think you know them, the SQL BI guys. So we are going to have them. We're going to have Marco Russo most likely. I don't know if Alberto Ferrari is going to join him. So they are going to be presenting to us. I will let you know as it goes, but so far the conversation is to have it next week. So we're going to watch a recorded session from them next week. Then upper week we'll have a live Q&A session with them. So it will be a big one. Don't miss it. Watch out for the updates. And how will you know? Make sure you're on the community. So if you're on the community, you will get the information ahead. So let me post the link for the community. Why is this not posting? This is a very bad situation. Now it has posted in a very gibberish kind of way. Okay, so great. So finally it's posted. So thank you, and we end the session here. Bye.